on a super fantastic podcast number 1805. Never assume. So when you're looking at, so we're going to be talking genealogy tonight. When you're looking up your ancestors and everything else, never assume that somebody is the person who fits into your tree. How do you know that they are the person that fits into your tree? What evidence do you have to back it up? And the hang on, I propped this book here has really great information on how to how to prove your point. In the back here, you have, I gotta find it again. In the back here, get to the tab. You have a chart here on how to analyze the evidence and prove your point. So what is it that you are assuming? And that's the glossary. So this is Genealogy Standards, 2nd edition, revised. It is awesome. It even includes DNA as using DNA as well. So that's number one. The other thing is never assume that the families you are researching are the same as yours. Now, you could have the mum, dad, the kids, all of that, very tight-knit community, very tight-knit family, always go everywhere and everything else. And then, so you assume that the other people in your ancestry are the same way. They are not. There could be times where your ancestors were raised by grandparents, they were raised by an aunt and uncle, they were adopted outside the family, so they had a very different family dynamics. There was single parents, same-sex parents, all in there. So never assume that because you have that close, tight-knit family, that they are going to be the same as yours. They are not. There's different dynamics, different family makeups, and everything else. So you need to research this. And one of the biggest ones, somebody's going, well, how can you tell that they were raised by grandparents or something like that? You can find, there's documents out there that you can find. Census is always a good one. Like if they're constantly appearing on the census with their grandparents, that's probably a good indication that they were raised by their grandparents. Or if they're appearing as a niece or a nephew, there's another great way that you could assume you could see that they maybe have been brought up by their aunts and uncles if their name is consistently appearing on the census with a couple at the top. It is like when you're looking at a census, it will say head of house. Then everybody that's listed in a relationship will say how they are related to the head of house. Now, here's a good one. So you might have the head of house as the husband or the male, and underneath it might have somebody who is his wife. It does not say anywhere in there that the children listed underneath belong to his wife. Think about that. So you could have the kids are listed and it will all say son or daughter, but that is their relation to the head of the house, which is the male in the house, has been listed as the head. It does not say what their relationship is to the woman that he is married to. So there you have to then go and think, okay, are they mother and child? Is this her children, or did he have the children from a previous marriage? Like, there's all sorts of questions that will come up in these things, but people assume that because a husband and wife are listed there with these children, that these children belong to both the husband and the wife. Not in all cases. There is, I had one case that I was researching where if you looked at the birth dates of the son, relationship to the father, to the head of the house who was the male, and you look at the age difference between him and the woman who was the wife of the head of the house, there was not a big gap in there. And so then I got thinking, maybe he has been married before. And so I did some research, and sure enough, he'd been married before, and that son had been born from his first marriage. So this woman that was there listed as the wife to the head of the house was actually the stepmother of the child. So you got to look out for things like that. So don't just assume because you see a couple sitting there and there are all these kids that those kids belong to them. Not necessarily. Always look at the ages. Is there not a lot of age difference? Because with this one, it meant that she would have been like 14 when she had the son. So that was a big red flag for me. Yes, I know some people got married at young ages and things like that. But did they have children at those young ages or not? In some cultures, yes, that's perfectly acceptable. Yes, that would have happened. I totally get that. But my little genealogy thingy went off and said, try it again. And, go look to see if there was a first marriage. We found the first marriage. We found the birth certificate. Boom. That was a stepmom that was on the census report. So never assume that what you see on something like a census report or when you see the family made up, that they are like your family, that they're close-knitted, or they may not be close-knit. It could be that everybody in the family knows everybody's birthday and knows how old people are. Or it could be that there's very little contact between family members. So, if somebody says, well, I'm 29, and then someone will sit there and go, 29? I don't think you're 29. No, I don't know their birthday. So I can't call that person out on the fact that they're not 29. They could actually be 35, but they're just saying that they're 29. You don't know that unless you're a very close-knit family. So some families will have single parents. Some families will have same-sex parents. Some families will have the aunt and uncle as the parent, as a parental figure. Others will have grandparents as parental figure. You don't know. You don't know. It could be a close family friend that is raising the children. You just don't know. Census reports will help with the relationship to the head of the house, but not necessarily the other adult in the house, especially if it says that is a spouse, like a wife, or like the wife could be the head of the house and the husband could be listed there as husband. Just because the wife is listed does not mean that those children listed underneath are the husband's children. So never assume. Always make sure that you check your references, that you check your resources. How can you prove that the woman listed on a census report, or even the man listed on the census report as being the spouse of the head of the house? How can you prove that those children belong to them? Go look up birth records. Birth records will show who the parents are. That's one way that you can find out that information. Or parish records for baptisms. It will have the father. Most of them will have at least the father listed. Some will also have the mother listed. So those are other places. I'm sorry this is short, but I got to go. I got to get on a speed networking call. So when you're researching family history, never assume that what you are seeing is, especially on census reports or newspaper articles, is another one. Never assume that those facts are correct. Always, always, always check your facts. Anyway, that's it. I'm out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific.